Thank you, everyone. I may need to steal some time from coffee break, so bear with me. I'll try to make it fun, okay? So you might be wondering what's this Chinese face doing here, talking about developing a Welsh test. Well, hopefully it's amusing in some way, and hopefully I'm adding to the diversity a little bit. I'm here because I'm passionate about second language acquisition and second language testing. Okay, and so I'm working with Helen and Amir as well to develop this kind of new test for Welsh. So I'll begin with introducing this elicited imitation test. It's not that easy to articulate it, or let's just call it a sentence repetition test. Okay, it's not that of a new concept. Because during language learning, we actually do it a lot. Like we imitate what we hear, okay? For example, we have say something in Welsh, or many language, say, learning approaches or materials like that. But in language testing, let's see how we design a test to use this sentence repetition to try to reach, say, a reliable measure of second language proficiency, second language knowledge, and skills. Okay, so this is what we do. Our test takers or participants, how we call them, they will listen to a stimulus sentence. Okay, and for example, I just added last night. I'm happy to attend the ELTE conference today. I won't try the Welsh version. I only speak a few Welsh words. I'm still learning. And what we do next is that we'll add an interruptive exercise or a break before they repeat the sentence. So the theory behind it is that the sentence they will repeat would be long enough so that they cannot memorize the sound of it to be able to repeat it. They have to understand it, which means that they have to have internalized second language knowledge to be able to decode and understand the stimulus sentence. Okay, so usually it's longer than 7 syllables for the sentence, because for short memories we usually can memorize 5 plus minus 2 items. Okay. And you do this interruptive exercise, which can be in our test counting down from 3 to 1 out loud, or just answer a question. Okay, so it stops the test takers from rehearsing the stimulus sentence, and then we ask them to repeat the sentence within a time limit. Okay, so they have this kind of rush, so they can't think too much about it. They will just repeat the sentence as quickly as possible. And we record their repetition, and then we can compare it with the stimulus sentence and see to what degree they could repeat it correctly. Okay, so as you can see, this is a fairly straightforward procedure for this test. This elicited imitation test has been used actually in second language research for decades, at least 50 years. Okay, and it has been validated as a reliable measure of second language proficiency and internalized linguistic knowledge. And it has been used actually because you can manipulate the stimulus sentence fairly easily. So you can put a target structure there, whatever knowledge or skills that you want to test. Okay, so it has been also used to test different domains of language. And it has been created and validated in many different languages, as you can see here, but not yet for Welsh. So I'm like, why don't we create a version for Welsh so we can compare also our second language learners' performance with this test in other language versions. Okay. So why do we need such a test for Welsh? Well, as far as I know, we have already speaking tests like those developed by WGAC and also by the National Center for Learning Welsh, which is called Learn Welsh Level Checker. They are both great Welsh-speaking language tests. However, this test would serve a different purpose. So what we also need is a learning-oriented assessment, okay, as a tool to track progress. it can be very regular in daily basis for our learners and for tutors who can easily manipulate and create those stimulus sentences and to tailor it for their class. And it's also fairly easy to provide constructive feedback by just comparing the original stimulus sentence with the repetition. And it has been found that this kind of like progress tracking or learning-oriented assessment has been found to have a positive impact on learner motivation, because when they see their progress, they will be more motivated to make more efforts, and also, of course, related to learning outcome positively. And an advantage, as you have already noticed, that elicited imitation test is quite a quick test, an easy test, straightforward, and it's also versatile because you can easily tailor the stimulus sentence for your purpose. And also more recently, it has been rated, scored, and feedback has been generated automatically. So you can also automate this process so we don't need our tutors or language teachers to generate feedback manually. Currently I have two projects going on for this Welsh elicited imitation test. I'll focus on the first one, but the first one is about developing a Welsh elicited imitation test, and this project is funded by the National Centre for Learning Welsh, and that's why we are creating we have actually created stimulus sentences based on Learn Welsh course books. So there are 6 course books mapped onto 4 proficiency levels according to CEFR from A1 to B2. And the next thing we'll do is that we'll send the test to the learners from Learn Welsh courses and also tutors or say native speakers of Welsh as native controls. So this is a way for us to validate the effectiveness of this test to see whether we can use the test to significantly differentiate learners from different levels, okay? And it will be done via an online experiment, which I'll show you fairly quickly. And the second project B, is about developing a digital platform for this bigger goal, say learning-oriented assessment. So it's not only about the test, but also about feedback and how to use it to track progress. So this one is funded by ESRC Council, and a main purpose, of course, is to run the test, but also to score the test or to make it easier for, say, tutors to score the test and give feedback, or even better, to automate this procedure. So I'll talk a bit more about the first part, Project A. And the stimulus sentence that we have created, so it covers all the key grammatical structures. So we target at grammar in this initial version of the test. Okay. So there will be 7 key patterns for each proficiency level. And this is a summary of different key grammatical patterns for each level. And hopefully you can see a very clear transition from lower level to higher levels, that the grammatical patterns got more complicated and advanced. And there's not really an overlap between, so there's a clear transition across different levels. And also, we will use 3 stimulus sentences or trials for each key patterns so that we can measure the reliability of each pattern. And all the sentences were modified to avoid like too complex vocabulary, because vocabulary is not our target here, it's grammatical structures, and to add some variation in the length of the sentence. So across the test, the length will increase and the complexity will increase in the way as well. And each sentence will be annotated for the target structure, the length of the sentence in terms of syllables, proficiency level from which, say, course books it's from, and among other linguistic features, say, mutation is a very salient or typical feature of Welsh. Okay, so in that way, when we collect the data, we can analyze which of these linguistic features will play a role in the scores that learners will achieve. So we'll run online experiment. We'll send a link to each participant where they will tell us some about their language learning history, whether they've learned any other languages before or after Welsh, and the use of Welsh, like how much they use it, how often they use it, and in what way they use it. And we'll also run a phonological short-term memory test just to double check if their short-term memory plays a role or not. If they rely on their short-term memory, it shouldn't be, okay, in terms of their performance. And then we'll also give them a standardized Welsh speaking test. It's something similar to WJEC speaking exam. So talk about, say, a usual day for 2 minutes, and then we'll compare. Hopefully we'll have some examiners from WJEC to mark their performance, and then to compare their performance in this new Welsh elicited imitation test with more standard test. Okay. And in the WEI test, Welsh EIT, they will listen and repeat 84 sentences from all the 4 levels. Okay. So I created a demo, which I hope would work, just to give you some idea about the last bit, this Welsh EIT test. Great. Of course. So is it because we're not connected to the internet? Oh, right. I see. I see what's the problem. Because I restricted to be Chrome browser, because to compare with. Do we have? No, we don't. Okay, I'll skip it. More time for a coffee break then. Right, because the reason I restrict it to Chrome browser is to make it more comparable, because online experiment, online data collection, sometimes can be very messy, and we track their, say, reaction time as well, and we want to analyze that. So better that they use a Chrome browser. And I'll also ask my participants to, say, allocate 1 hour at least to sit in quiet room, use headphones to do this test. And the link, the test will be sent to 80 learners, 20 from each of the 4 proficiency level. So they are supposed to score significantly differently in this test. And 10 native speakers, access controls, and at least 2 tutors to rate the speech performance. Okay. Yeah, so I guess we'll share the slides, so if you're interested in the references. And thank you very much. So I also want to mention my co-investigator, John Morris, also from Cardiff University School of Welsh, and also our research assistant, Jack, who was a PhD student of John. Okay, so they contributed a lot to this project. Thank you, everyone.